Two Queers in a Truck. And I'm Billy James Gunn, and my sidekick, Christian Cano, partner with Gunn, is coming up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Jim's sidekick. Welcome to Two Queers in a Truck. Hi y'all.
See you soon. Good morning, everybody. It is Two Queers in a Truck time, and it's April 22nd.
Woohoo!
Or at least that's what we intended it for it to be.
Everyone's at the pool behind me. Look.
I know.
Yeah.
We got a pool party going on.
I do, yeah.
For y'all that watch the show instead of listen to the show on the podcast, Christian's got a pool party background with a lot of shirtless bros and some swimming trunks. It's a great.
Now everyone's going to switch over to the video part. Oh, I want to see that. So
yeah, I was going to go running to Facebook just to see
That's
it.
That's right.
But anyway, we're going to jump right into it. Texas Paul Schroeder asked, "What percentage of MAGA men are gay?" And the response, and he put this up on Twitter, and he's a progressive Texan that always is posting, anti-MAGA, anti-Republican stuff. A pretty funny guy. But the other day he posed this question: what's the percentage of MAGA? And this is in the closet down low, because 99% of MAGAs that are gay or in the closet. Like there's not many MAGAs that are out. Some people put as high as 80%. And the comments were pretty funny. One said that it's the MAG gay party, and put a Y on the end of MAGA. It was. I think most people understand that conservatives in general tend to be what they oppose the most. You take Mark Robinson, that is paid for multiple abortions, and now finally confessed to watching queer porn and trans porn. That when you peel back the veil of deceit, you look at the $200 million infomercial Kristi Noem made, and how they talk about they're financially conservative when their Republicans are just the opposite. They're very much flashy, big old queens that like to spend a lot of money. Look at Trump. He's wasted hundreds of millions of dollars and squandered hundreds of millions of dollars, including all of his inheritance. He was just about dead broke in the early 2000s before he got his show. NBC TV saved his career. He didn't have a career at that point. He had destroyed every business he ever touched. Probably spent a lot of money. It was company's money on the Trump Epstein Island infrastructure. I would imagine he probably ended up somehow paying for the Zorro Ranch. But most of all, one of the things that they oppose the most is LGBT people, and act like they hate it, even though they come on our feeds and bitch to us going, "Why is this on my feed?" I'm going, "Well, it isn't on your feed. It's on my feed. You came onto my feed bitching because you want to be where the gays are at." Now, you explain that to me. And Christian and I have seen that over and over again. How many MAGAs come on to our Two Queers page on Facebook?
And that's funny you say that, Gersemi, when someone says,
In 2026, when someone says, well, I don't know why this porn popped up on my computer, or like you said, I don't know why this pops up. It pops up on your feed because that's what you're interested in. It's not
Mm-hmm.
magical. It's not like a little fairy goes, cling,
Yeah. And you're typing stuff
Exactly.
onto a Facebook post. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt for just a second. Let's just say somehow the big cock of consequence dropped on them, and our big gay page just rusted right into their feed. We found out a way to trick the algorithm into just inserting ourselves in, so to speak. And they end up forced to see gayness, because they're being forced to open their app and look at the big gay Facebook. You still took the time to comment. Let's say I am watching the nightly news and something violent's about to happen. They're going to show a clip where somebody gets shot. And they say, if you don't want to see somebody get shot, this would be a good time to get up and go get a drink of water. And then they give one of the graphic violence warnings ahead of time, trigger warning. If you see gay stuff and you don't like to see gay stuff, keep scrolling. But if you take the time to talk about how much you don't like gay stuff being shoved in your face while shoving it into your own face by reaching around the metaphorical Facebook gay page and grabbing the butt cheeks of that page and pushing it into your face, you invaded your own mouthful.
Oh,
Yourself.
yes,
And very
exactly.
much voluntarily
Mm-hmm.
got that schmunking in your face. We didn't do it.
Yes.
Now, I would love to have the power to be able to do that. I'd love to be able to put my queer page onto several Republican pages for the fun of it. But it doesn't work that way. Christians especially always say, you're always pushing your lifestyle on us. I'm going, I'm not showing up to your church soliciting members for the Pride organization. One, I don't want to go to no church no Sunday morning. I got better things to do. I don't go knocking on your doors. There's no missionaries from the local Pride org knocking on your fucking door saying, are you coming to Pride this year? No, we make it a public event. People come because we are fun. We're enjoyable. Look at that pool party behind Christian. That looks like fun. They're all partying. Like our events, straight people love coming to them. If they didn't, you guys wouldn't know about our drag shows. We never force our lifestyle on them. Y'all very much willing to grab our lifestyle around our waist and our butt cheeks and you pull it into your own face. For whatever for, you do. I don't care. I'm not judging them. Water's fine. Jump on in. This is a nice big gay pool. But don't act like you're forced in this. And we remind people on the daily when they say that on our page is that if you're seeking out queer content on Facebook and Instagram, you're seeking it out. It doesn't magically show up in your feed. The algorithm's designed that it shows you pages that you seek out. If you click on a lot of car-related pages, it'll show you more car pages. If you like space and science, it'll show you more space and science pages. If you love fashion, it'll click, and so on and so forth. So if a lot of queer pages are showing up on your page, You sought it out. It's just as simple as that. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. And, it's, oh, I was going to talk about Dumpster bragging about that slob, Kim Jong-un, the dictator of North Korea, saying he gets along with him real well. Somebody called him half Whitler, by the way, in that article. Well, what kind of American president says he gets along with the dictator of North Korea and says it with a semi-straight face? Like, that shouldn't be a bragging point. You shouldn't see eye to eye to somebody keeping captive their entire population under armed guard and starving them. Unless, of course, that's what you want to do here, which it kind of is. He cut all the food programs he could for American people. And I know he said several times he admires the guy. And he said repeatedly he admires the other dictators of the world. Because that's what he wants to be. So he can make more money off the federal government, pull more money out of the fucking treasury. He wants to be able to do what he wants when he wants. Because that's what his buddy Putin does. Is they oil each other up. Speaking of oily man-on-man contact, you got to wonder now with all these videos of Trump partying with little girls and all the files and all the stuff being released by being leaked about the Epstein files. You got to wonder what's not in the Epstein files that Trump's done over his lifetime. Especially with Putin. And on that note, we're up against our first commercial break, and we'll be right back with Two Queers in a Truck after these important messages. Hey, everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in, and we're staying. So enjoy the Two Queers in a Truck on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye, boo. Happy pod.
Hi, this is Urine Pascual Mateo. I am back. Spadicay is back in 2026, and yes, my hiatus was sad, and it was caused by a bunch of, butthurt losers. But I'm not going to say that. Don't worry, I'm here. I'm going to be annoying. I'm going to say fuck fascism, and I'm going to stand up against this shit. So please, like, subscribe, enjoy my show, and let's fight against the bullshit that we continue to live through.
Hey y'all, thanks for listening to Two Queers in a Truck. And we do broadcast on YouTube and Facebook in a video version. And we're also on all the audio platforms out there. So your favorite way to listen to your podcast. We've been doing this for a couple years and we appreciate y'all listening. We know you have a ton of choices, even though we may be the best choice. We always appreciate our listeners and we'll try to bring you quality in the future. Thanks for listening. As always, Christian and Jenny, we're out. Thank y'all. But can you imagine what kind of nasty things he's done with certain people that have a lot of dirt on him? What kind of depraved things this guy's done? Because More and more, we're finding out we're getting exact stories in these emails and these files. And that it's not pretty. It does not paint a pretty picture. Whew. I shudder to think. I think all those rumors and urban myths about things that Putin did to him probably are more true than we'll ever know. I just imagine. And on that note, where did the $200 million go that Christy Noam supposedly used for that film of that infomercial? You can make an Avatar type movie for $200 million, and that's paying the actors pretty handsomely. And with technology now making film production even more cheaper, where did it really go? Just like the billions that HedgePet spent last year before you got to use it or lose it. Where did that money really go? How much of it ended up in their individual pockets? I'm thinking something seems suspicious. There's no, especially an infomercial, there's no way she could have spent more than $100,000, but definitely not $200 million. That's if she flew the horse to that site, flew a film crew. Because the filming of a full blown TV commercial, typically the production costs, because she shouldn't get paid for an infomercial as part of her job, wouldn't have cost more than a very elaborate commercial on that level, about 15 grand for the cameras, the crews, everything for a 1 day shoot. And you only need 1 day. Tops. Probably more like 5 or 6 hours tops. You're not filming a 2 hour film, even if you did a 5 minute infomercial. If you can't get the footage for 5 minutes of her up on a horse, you're an idiot. And definitely, there's no reason it should cost $200 million. So where'd the money go? Even if they spent, it was the most elaborate commercial shoot of all time. It shouldn't cost more than $100,000 or $200,000. I mean, that would be the most elite, expensive. I'm not talking about paying actors or anything. I'm just talking about the commercial costs itself for 1 day of filming. And a national park, no less, which wouldn't have a cost. But definitely nowhere near $200 million. Even the city of LA just reduced their on-site costs to shoot a full-blown film down to from $100,000 to $35,000. She could have shot a full film in LA for $35,000 for a site permit, where they shut down the streets and have police and everything. 35 grand plus the production costs. So you got to wonder again, where did that $200 million go? Probably the same place that cake stand dummy nuts money in the grift of all these millions of dollars with the stakes and everything else. I'm thinking there's some kind of kickback, that it was some false billable. They got the money and then kicked back a certain amount, and I'm sure there was no stakes delivered to the DOD. I'm sure there isn't a bunch of generals and colonels sitting out there with a freezer full of ribeyes. They spent $93 billion in the last 30 days of the physical cycle last year. I'm pretty suspicious of that number. I don't think you could spend that much. We didn't get any planes out of it. It was all consumer items for private companies, which smells like kickbacks to me. I'm thinking somebody's sitting with a lot of money in their bank account somehow. or in a crypto account or offshore account or something. Something smells ripe in Denmark. Methinks we got ripped off. That $93 billion, which could have gone a long way to feeding kids and feeding adults and paying for a lot of health care or paying off a lot of student loans. I think we got ripped off again by this crew. And these are conversations that aren't happening because we're talking about trans people in sports. We're talking about all these nonsensical shit. We need to, you know what's really weird is we spent all this time banning people from trans people from everything. Yet there hasn't been a single Epstein person arrested yet. There's not one man off that list that's been arrested. $3 million files, 3 million pieces of evidence, not one arrest. I've told us everything we need to know. At this point in time, I'm going to say the powers that be are not going to make any arrests. At least not in this country. Maybe in other countries, but it's not going to happen here. Now, this is the same group of people that had QAnon that said Trump was the great child rescuer and it was going to do this massive effort. If you remember back in 2017, 2018, when QAnon was its strongest, when they weren't floating COVID conspiracy theories, but before that, they said the reason why they support Trump is he's going to be the great, he's going to end child trafficking as we know it. He's going to bigly end it. Come to find out, he's the biggest child trafficker in the world. And yet, of all the hundreds of names on that list, it's funny, there hasn't been a single person arrested off that list. I mean, besides Epstein and Maxwell. And if they're arrestable because they organized it and ran it, why aren't the people that fueled it and paid for it, why aren't they in prison right now? When there's 3 million pieces of evidence. That's very bizarre. Everybody on that list that has evidence against them should at least be in cuffs. They should at least spend the night in jail. Because I guarantee you, people go to jail for that all the time. By the way, that Texas pastor, Trump's pastor, only spent 6 months in jail. He's already out for crimes against children. That's about par for the course. But I love how they campaign against trans people, but they protect creeps like that. Speaking of psychos, Alex Karp or whatever his name is, the CEO of Palantir, says that people in general are too stupid to understand what Palantir does. Now, this guy's a psychopath, and I've seen him have his little man fits and just go off because he's a spoiled little white man baby like Elon Musk. And he's goofy looking. He's got this crazy looking hair, and he's just this weird, skinny white boy that has been elevated above his usefulness. And Palantir is scary because it's basically designed to surveil everything and organize it quickly to basically hurt any citizen anywhere in the world. Because it's got contracts with all of our security and TSA and military, and it coordinates it all in one nice, neat little package. And what they can do with it, and the way AI is now, you become an enemy of the state. They can target, create, and clamp you up before it's all said and done. Which it's weird that that kind of technology exists, but the Epstein criminals just walk around. If that technology is so great and we're spending so much money on it with our federal government, why isn't that technology being used against current child traffickers? The current billionaires' islands that we all know didn't go away. Why isn't it being done still? That's a mystery. But we'll be right back with some more Two Queers in the Truck after these important messages. Hey y'all, this is Jetty with Two Queers in the Truck and Christian's along with me. And we're just having fun, and we're looking forward to the 2025 season and super excited. We have some neat things going on in our whole family of shows, including Coffee and Pan Dulce, and many new shows that are brewing. Get it. And we are excited for 2025 and all the chicanery and other things that comes with it. So happy New Year, and we'll see you on the flip side. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Bye, boo.
Bye, boo. But for all of our surveillance technology, we still have ICE agents running down the street tackling people. We still have probably millions of kids getting trafficked worldwide, including the people on the Epstein list. Do you think they actually stopped? I don't think they did. I have a suspicion that the sequel to Epstein Island exists now. And that's not even being mentioned because we haven't even done the first step of prosecuting all the people on the Epstein list. But people like that just don't stop. It's an addiction. It's a power play. It's a power trip. That's what most sex crimes are power trips. They're not sexual in nature per se. There's not what drives their mind. It's the power. It's the cruelty that's being fed into their psychopathic brain. And these people paid for that. They paid for the power trips. And but because the people on the Epstein list were big, wealthy business buddies of Epstein, these are the people that rule the world. They're the ones that rule the United States. This is the people that bought Trump to keep them out of prison too. Because they knew eventually this was going to come to a head. They knew Epstein was pretty smart. He kept very extensive records on all this. Because he knew eventually he was going to go to prison. You can't do this much damage to this many people and not go to prison. He knew it was going to come to an end. And what he thought that did keep him out of prison, because Florida never prosecuted him, because Pam Bondi, that just recently got fired, refused to prosecute him. And then still on the federal level refused to prosecute these people on this list. There's money well spent. And this administration is the administration for sale. You know, everybody that's wanted access to the United States, they bought in like a poker game. They did a buy-in in 2021 to 2024 when he continually ran for office, even though he just lost. And these are the people that bought him, the Epstein billionaires and the Saudis and the other countries, and people that shouldn't be able to buy in. They paid his idiot son-in-law to take their money, and they got access. Either because they had Epstein-type evidence against them, or they invested into his meme coins and all of his other businesses. Which technically it's not ethical, but it's legal. Supposedly. I don't know if it really is. But the law hasn't really mattered in a while. If you got a certain amount of money, it doesn't matter. That's what we've become. That's who we are right now. It's not a theoretical thing anymore. We are an oligarchy. We are being ruled by billionaires, and these tech companies are manipulating everything. From war footage to election results to polling data to everything. We are being manipulated to the core. And the line between fact and fiction, it's been blurred. It's probably pretty much erased. And that's what we're going to have to live with, because we've turned a blind eye to it. We've allowed to just shrug our shoulders and go, well, he's a businessman. I think for the people that decided not to vote for Harris, thought, well, he's a businessman. He wasn't that bad that first time around. What's the worst that can happen? Is their mentality, because he never got held accountable for anything. Most people are just saying, it's just politics. Because most people can't conceive that he's actually guilty of all the stuff that he's been convicted of. The corporate press has been manipulated so much. In most people's eyes, they see it as partisan politics on both sides of the ledger. There's a ton of people in this country that are not Republicans, and they're probably kind of Democrats, but they see, because the corporate press has given him a pass so much over this last decade on his racism, sexism, his crimes against humanity, his crimes against those little girls, that he's never been held accountable for anything. So people were going, well, even the trial where he got convicted 34 times of felonies, that doesn't matter to people. There was no outcry. There was no King's March then. Nobody took to the streets saying he needs to be in prison. Why isn't he in prison? Nobody really cared. Even the Democrats really didn't push it that hard. They hung that one prosecutor out to dry, pretty much. So I got to say, if nobody cares, at what point do we? We know he's not going to be held accountable. Not that in that way. Now, Father Tom, his aging, his dementia, his medical problems, among other things, and maybe a country like Iran will hold him accountable in some way. And I think ultimately he's just going to get in so deep with the stuff that they're going to have to 25th, and his administration is going to have to say he's incapacitated and he can't, we can't keep the lie up anymore. And they can't strap him to a board and hold him up and act like he's functioning and auto pen everything. Because again, just a few days ago, he disappeared. And he disappears almost every month, because they're pumping him probably through every kind of meds. And I mean, this guy can't even stay awake in most public appearances. He literally is bobbleheading almost everything, where he's flat out asleep and then springs to life when somebody calls onto him. But half the time he can't even hold his eyes open. That's who's theoretically running the country. And if he can't stand or sit at a function more than 10, 15 minutes without either getting distracted and getting up and walking to a window, or babbling or falling asleep, how is he doing his job? Because as a president, a regular president spends 10 to 12 hours a day or more working. sometimes 14, 15-hour days. How in the hell is he actually functioning? What is not getting done? Or he's getting done by other people who aren't authorized to do it? Who is running this country? Let's put all the other stuff to the side, because he's never going to be held accountable for any laws. Or he's not going to be the Epstein thing's never going to sink in. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to get prosecuted. But what is he not doing, and who's doing it for him? Those are the questions we should be asking. Like all other presidents, one of the reasons most presidents age in office so rapidly is because those are long, grueling days, because you are the CEO of a large country. There's a lot. It's a demanding job. Look at Papa Bush. From the day he took office in 89 to when he left office in 93, he aged exponentially. Obama did the same thing. George W. did the same thing. They came out much older than the time they spent in office. They say it is a grueling job. For all the ego and adoration you get, it sucks a lot of years off the back end of your life. It's a tough job. It's not a glamorous job at all. There's glamorous parts, but it's a grueling job. There's a reason why Michelle Obama is not running for president. She got a first row seat on what it did to Barack. You know, and it's one of those things where he's playing golf 3-4 days a week or disappearing off, probably getting hospital treatments. But a normal president would be working in those times. And so the demands of this world have not gotten less. We're a larger country than we've ever been, population-wise. There's more work that needs to be done than ever before. Who is doing the work? That would normally be the president of the United States. Who's making those decisions? Who's writing out those orders? Who's leading his cabinet? All the cabinet meetings that you sit through, all the meetings you sit through. Who's doing the work when he's down in Florida at his sleazy golf motel? These questions aren't even being asked by any member of the press. So who's running it? Nobody's saying who's running the country. It's like nobody's playing Where's Waldo. And it's so fascinating that we live in a world where we bury our heads in the sand and go, no biggie. That's how scary this world just turned into. Nobody's holding anything accountable anymore. Or even asking the question, well, who is driving the car? As we're going off the cliffs of insanity. Big questions. Kind of scary. Especially since we have about 7,700 nuclear weapons. And we're currently engaged into a full-scale war with Iran. Who's actually running everything? Who's making those decisions? Pete Kickstand? But anyway, that's all we have for this week. And we will be back next week with some more Two Queers in the Truck. And y'all have a great week. We'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Bye, boo. There we go.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching Two Queers in the Truck. And as always, just have a great spring. And be careful. We're getting the warmer days. It's that time of the year. Wear sunscreen and maybe wear a hat. Drink plenty of water. For many of y'all are experiencing spring break even. So be safe out there, and as always, we appreciate y'all. Without y'all, we wouldn't have even have a show. And we'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Hey, y'all, it's International Pride Month, and I want to wish everybody, our fellow queer neighbors and our allies, a happy Pride Month. spend money in Target and your local queer Black and brown businesses as well. But happy Pride. Thanks for watching this show, and be safe out there.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, Dave. And this is the Jenny Award.
And this is the Pendejo Chronicles.